Hi, welcome to Every Single Journey, a family life original podcast for singles. My name is Becki. I'm a single girl in my 30s who is passionately pursuing this life God has given me. Join me as we navigate the season of singleness together. Society has placed a blueprint on my life. Well, really it's like 2 or 3 different options that I need to choose from, and if I don't pick one, then I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Here to chat about this is
Becca from the events team. I love planning events here at Family Life, and I also just love being active, hiking, playing sports, and going to the gym.
And I'm Emily. I'm on our regional underwriting team. I am learning to be okay in singleness and finding fulfillment in what God has given me in my now.
Becca. What pressure and expectations do you feel society places on your life?
Yeah, wow. I definitely have felt that. So I went to a private Christian school for 3 years and graduated from there. And while I absolutely loved my experience, it was very much the ring by spring culture and make sure that you're married by the time you leave here or you have a very serious relationship. And I'm single now and out of college for like 3 years. So I clearly didn't fit that mold. And that was a really hard pill to swallow when I graduated. And kind of going into like the last semester, I was like, well, there is like no prospects on the line. It's just not going to happen for me. And it was hard because I had other friends that had met guys there and they are married now. And I'm so happy. Like it definitely worked out in that perfect like Christian bubble plan that is out there, but it didn't for me. And I was like, I just failed like Christian college. Because the whole reason you go there is to get your MRS degree. As a woman, like it's to get the ring. And if you don't do that, then you failed. And so I kind of walked out of college being like, well, yeah, I have a degree and I'm really proud of that, but I failed the whole reason to go there. And like that was to find a guy. And where else was I going to find that big of a pool of Christian, godly, and really great guys ever again in my life? And I'm like, if I couldn't find somebody there, where am I going to find somebody? And I really struggled with that for that last semester. And I definitely was like praying about it and just being like, Lord, what am I supposed to do? Like, and he kind of gave me like a realization that he has a good plan for every single one of his sons and daughters. And just because my good plan looked different than what good plan he had for other friends of mine and other Christians in general doesn't mean that my good plan is now somehow bad or wrong. And so I kind of finished up the semester, graduated, and I kind of realized how much freedom I now had. I was like, I can find a job anywhere I want to. I can go find other friends that graduated and aren't getting married, and I can go live with them. And for like the first like year and a half of being out of college, I didn't date anybody. And I was like, wow, this is so freeing and fun to kind of figure out this life. And while I still have that desire to get married and to have a family one day, I realized that like right now, this is my good plan. And just because it's a different good plan doesn't mean that my plan's still not good.
It's hitting me that how realistic and hard that expectation and like bubble is of going to a Christian college and having a ring by spring or a ring by the time you graduate, because I didn't go to a Christian college. And like I knew that was a thing, but just hearing you talk about it, I'm like, oh, there's some real weight and hardship there. Like that's like so much pressure and expectation while you're trying to get a degree, which is also, I am sure, a lot of pressure and expectation because like grades and classes and friends and professors and sports and like all of the things. And I'm just like, that's a lot. That sounds like crazy.
It was crazy because like my like getting started weekend, our president, he had the best of all intentions, was like, year 1, you kind of get your feet under you. Year 2, you figure out who you are. Year 3, you meet the guy who matches you. Year 4, you get engaged. And it was like, you have this blueprint for what my college experience is going to be like. And then the thing is, too, like to go past that, if people didn't have that college experience of like the Christian school, like that's still society today, like in other realms of things. I mean, whether that's a church group, there is like these expectations on you to like start filling out this blueprint and like you're a little behind, but you can catch up if you just rush through a relationship or don't ask the hard questions. Like you can catch up eventually, but it's even in friend groups to like have that pressure too. So I think yes, I felt it most in the Christian school like atmosphere, but it still like spreads out into society, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I too went to a Christian college. However, COVID happened in my sophomore year. And so I was at community college for the first 2 years, and there is no prospects. It's a joke, but there was no prospects. And so I was like, okay, Lord, I'm going to go to a Christian college. And my sister was going to the same school, and she had met somebody. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this school and I'm going to meet my person. And then COVID happened. I said, okay, I'm going to meet my person on Zoom. It didn't happen. And so, and it's hard because it's like, okay, God, what do you want from me? Like genuinely, like what am I supposed to be doing? Because you think, okay, I do well in my career and this is where you want me to be and I'm following your plan. And okay, I'm going to go to a Christian school and I'm going to be in my word and I'm going to do all of the things. I'm going to be involved in church, and still nothing. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard because you put that pressure on where you see your friends, you see your family, and you see everybody else around you, and the girl's pregnant at graduation. It's like, I love that for you. You have a husband and you have a life, and that is so great. But what about me? Like, what about me, God? And it's an internal battle of like, am I lesser? No, like that's not at all what it is. It's just that God has a different plan for you, and just finding what that plan is.
Yeah.
The pressure for me that I have felt, or I guess taken on from society, has been later on past those stages, because I went to a community college for a year. And then from there, I've been in the workforce and done multiple different jobs and just hung out in different smaller, usually Christian circles. So in general, there haven't been a lot of prospects. But like feeling that overwhelming pressure to find a husband and get married was something that I didn't necessarily experience. I was just very much like in the moment and, okay, yes, I want to get married. Yes, I want to have a family, and that's going to happen, and just expecting it to happen. And the people around me were saying the same type of things. So of like, oh yeah, it'll happen. And when you meet your person and like all of that kind of stuff. And so it didn't come across to me as pressure. It just came across as like an agreement on this good life plan that we've got all figured out. And then fast forward, and my good life plan of getting married and having a family hasn't happened yet. And it seems the narrative from society has like switched for me. So instead of, and I'm in my 30s, I don't feel like I'm that old, but I guess I'm old enough to have felt the switch of, oh, you're going to be single for the rest of your life. Like, totally fine to say, totally a great question. But like now that's more the expectation that I feel of, oh, you're not even looking anymore. Or, oh, you're kind of looking, but it's on the back burner, or like different things like that. So for me, it's been more of like that tug of war of like, oh, society thinks that I'm just going to embrace the single, be a girl boss vibe and personality and like social norm that we see. And that's not the story I have written in my head for myself. And that's not the story that I believe God has written for me either. And as time goes on, I'll learn more and more about God's plan and his good story for me, whether that includes a husband or not. But I'm still like very much open to it. So I guess what I'm trying to get to with all that rambling is like that tug of war that's going on of the pressure from society of like, oh, you're going to be a single girl boss and like go rule the world, instead of, oh, you're going to get married and have a family. Like I still get that from time to time too, but it's just an interesting like switch and an interesting like pressure, because then it's like, well, which path am I supposed to choose? Am I supposed to choose, oh, I'm going to be single and I'm going to be super successful in my career and I'm going to be the boss lady, or am I going to like double down and find my man and have the 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and all of that? And I'm just like, I'm so confused. What do I do?
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, because I'm like in my 20s and single, I can't completely speak to that flip yet, but I think this kind of goes for both, is like people who got married young and have kids young love their life. And that's why they want that for you. It's like, whoa, it was so good. I loved it. And so like I'm putting, whether they mean to or not, this pressure on you because I loved my life so much that now you need to love this life too. And it's like, well, maybe I will, but I'm not there yet. But I think that also goes to people who like kind of when you get into your 30s and are single, who maybe they are in their 30s or 40s and single and love being single. And so they're like, well, now that you're older, you can love being single and like the rest of your life. And I think it's I don't think it comes from a bad place where they're like trying to like pigeonhole you, I guess, into feeling that way. But I think that they just genuinely love their life in the way it is. And I think that that's so fair. And I appreciate that they're willing to share that they love their life. Like, thank you. Because I think that can be encouraging if you are 30 and single and you're like, you know what? I do want to be single the rest of my life. Like, that could be encouraging. Or even for me, when people have like a husband and they have like their little baby and I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Because like that does encourage me. But I think that like, just because God's plan for you was to get married fresh out of college and somehow, which I don't understand, buy a house right out of college. Don't understand that, but good for you. And like have all those kids right away. Like it's perfect. Like that's the perfect plan. Well, no, that's God's perfect plan for you. That doesn't mean that that has to be my perfect plan. I can still do that when I'm 25 and still live a great life.
Yeah, no, I mean, you said you're 20, I'm 25. So when you used that as like a very future date, I was like, oh no. But no, sorry. No, but it's true. I mean, and then that's kind of where I was going to go with like, it's a comparison thing. And you see this life and you're like, oh, I really, 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 really want that. And it becomes a jealousy, which there's a difference because I have many friends who are married and who have kids or who are married and have fur babies because fur babies are children. I just want to put that out there right now. Anyways, so they have these kids and it's like I could be in this spot where I'm jealous that they have this life and they have the Christmas morning and the maple syrup on the face and the sticky hands. But there's a difference between I want that and a comparison jealousy and I get to be the really cool like favorite babysitter. And I mean, God puts desires in our heart to allow us to kind of see his plan and purpose, maybe not for us, but for in general, like our community and the Church of Christ.
God doesn't give us desires to make us feel pigeonholed or ashamed or left out or less than. He gives us desires because it's part of who he is. It's part of being our good father. It's part of leading us and molding us. And I think where it gets tricky and hard for a lot of us is we have this desire to get married, to have a family, or could be the desire to remain single and serve the Lord as a single person. And through comparison and jealousy and seeing others having what we want and that highlight reel that we most often see, because if we're being honest, we most often see people's highlight reels. We don't see the nitty gritty and the hard of what being married and having kids is, or being single and pursuing in that unique way what God has called you to do. We often see the highlight reel. So I think that's where we get confused on, well, I have this desire and it's not fulfilled yet, and it's not fulfilled within my timeline. So now there's all this added extra pressure that I'm putting on myself, and there's all this added pressure that I feel coming from others, even if, like you said, Becca, it's a good thing. Like they want to share that good part of their life with us. And they also recognize, hey, Becca, I see you. I see this desire you have to get married. I want to help you get there. I want to help you get that desire fulfilled just as much as you want that desire fulfilled. So then I think we can interpret that as pressure, that to do a certain thing in a certain way by a certain time. And then we're left battling that internal pressure and that internal guilt or shame or loneliness or I'm a failure because we're placing all this expectation around what's supposed to be a really good thing when we're just not sure how it's going to unfold yet.
I heard this in college, and it was about Hannah and 1 Samuel and kind of her like desire to have a baby. And he was talking about her prayer and her song and everything, and kind of came to the point of like one of the hardest things to grasp in the Christian life is the unfulfillment of good desires. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to wrap your mind around. Why would God not let me have that, what I think I really want? Because it is a good desire. Marriage and family, even to be single, like Paul said, that was good to be single. Like, these are all good desires, but like unfulfillment of those is so hard to grasp. Because as much as we have the desire to get married and to have that family, it's also not a promise. And so I think what can help with kind of the comparison and the fulfillment of undesires is to just kind of to take a step back and to look at your life. And rather than looking at the comparison of what everybody else has, look at what you have that is already a fulfillment of a promise or a desire, and realize like I'm living a really good life. Like God has already blessed me in so many ways. And I know I was talking to one of my like good friends, and she's married and has her first baby on the way, and I'm so excited. And I was kind of telling her she got married. She actually dropped out of college to get married, but she got married right away after college, and kind of we were talking, and I was like, it's just really hard to like be single. And like she went to the same college that I did, and I was just like, how did you walk away with the perfect dream? And we walked the same classes. We were best friends. I'm like, how do we walk away with such different things? And she's like, yeah, I get that. I understand. But she's like, I'm jealous of you. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, you can go live wherever you want to. You can go accept any job you want to. Don't really have to worry about what the pay is going to be because you don't have a family to provide for. You can go on a girls' trip whenever you want to. You can go be in a wedding if you want to. If you want to go home for the weekend, you don't have to worry about if your husband is okay with you doing that or he has to come along or whatever. She's like, just because like what you have is different than what I have doesn't mean I'm not jealous of the other side. So she's like, honestly, take a look at your life because it's still pretty good, and just be thankful for those things. And that really challenged me because first of all, I never thought anybody could be jealous of my life because I was like, who wants to be single? Like that wasn't like, especially in that world at that time, it's like nobody wanted to be. And she was like, but also like marriage is hard too. And like, then I'm jealous of my single friends. And so when I did that, it kind of put a new perspective on that. I was like, I needed that like mental reset and new perspective.
Yeah. And two, I think that having the perspective that like, if you're single, your life is not lacking. Like, we don't find our worth in a partner. First and foremost, that's a lot of pressure on a partner for your entire worth and your life and everything you do to be that person. That's unfair, first and foremost. But secondly, we have to find our joy in the Lord. And I know it's something it's one of those church lingos. Like we hear that all the time, like find your purpose in God. But at the same time, it's true. I mean, we have to find fulfillment in our life, kind of like what you were saying, like you have these things that you do. We were just talking about you went out line dancing with your friends. And it's like, if you want to do that, you can do that. And that's okay because that's something that you get to do in your life and you find purpose in that. And a partner, I was talking about this last night, is in addition. It's not the end all be all. Having a partner, having a spouse, having a family, like it's in addition to your life. And yes, your life may look different if you do have a partner, and you have to be okay with that. It's like, okay, what are the things that you really need to be you? Like, who are you and who are you in God? And that person is going to enhance that, not be that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that even goes to the perfect dream of having a house and the kids and the picket white fence. Like, is that really what you're going to place your joy in? Because that house can burn down. That fence will get ugly. The kids are going to drive you crazy one day. Like, if that's where your joy and your hope is, I'm sorry, we've got problems because But when your joy and hope is found in the Lord and Him alone, it's okay, whether I get the husband or not, or I get the wife or not, or my house is beautiful and big, or if it caught fire and burned down, or if my kids are having a really good day or they're not. Like, those things are all situational that can like change on a dime, and like specifically like the house and stuff. But like, if my joy and my hope is rooted deeply in Christ, then no matter what comes my way, like I am firmly planted in Christ.
Part of what I have had to do or come to the conclusion and decided to do in feeling that pressure of my life has to go a certain way, having the desires that the Lord has planted in my heart to have a certain life that looks a certain way. And then getting to the conclusion and recognizing ultimately I have a full life. I have a life in front of me to live, and my joy is found in the Lord, and making sure that I'm not missing out on the here and the now or placing too much expectation on a future partner or a partner is I've had to learn to unclench my hands and to live with open hands, because I'm a very goal-oriented person, and I'm a very, let's just go do it and get it done. Like, once I've made a decision, I'm just 110%, let's get it done and move on to the next thing, and like, we're good to go. So the fact that I have this desire and it hasn't been met in the way that I planned for it to be met, or in a way that fits my timeline, I have to keep going back and remembering to unclench my hands and say, Lord, what is your plan? Here is my plan, whether that happens or not. And then back it out even further and look at, okay, here's my desire. How is that being, however the Lord wants it to be filled, He'll fill it. And it's just, it's a hard thing to kind of define, because I don't know the timeline. Like with any other goal, I can set the timeline and either I miss it or I make it. But with this, if I keep missing the timeline, then it just keeps getting discouraging and keeps feeling like I have to arrive, or I haven't arrived yet. And it's like, no, if I remember to step back and look at all the good, like you were saying, Becca, I have a really good and full life, and I have a lot of blessings and a lot of answered prayers and a lot of fulfilled desires and a lot of purpose for the here and the now. So if I can find a way to live in the joy in Christ with my hands open to those desires that still are unmet, that has just helped me navigate through that pressure that I feel other people put on, or that pressure I put on myself, or when I want to fall into the comparison trap or anything like that.
Yeah, I think of it as something that I worked on for a long time, was just to, because I think that our desires can be good desires, but like I have been trying to pray that my desires would align to God's desires. And when I started praying that, like, because yeah, I do have the desire to be married, but maybe I don't know the plan. Maybe God doesn't have that. So if my heart needs to change towards that, Lord, align my desires to be your desires. And kind of along with like letting go of things, something that like I had heard as an illustration one time in church that was so good was sometimes we hold so tightly to things that if God wants to give us blessings, He literally can't, because our hands are not open to receive anything. But to have your hands open is scary and risky, because God can take away blessings now because we're letting go of them. Like He could, not blessings, but He could take away things that might be really hard for us to want to let go of. But if we're holding on, we also can't receive the blessings. And they use Skittles to kind of explain it. And like, you can't hold on to Skittles and like receive, but you can also take them away. And I just thought that was a really good illustration of like desires and promises from God. It's just, to your point, is having open hands, because yeah, it's risky. You might lose something or go through something because God's going to take something away, but also He can't give you any of His good gifts if you're not willing to receive those gifts.
Right. And I mean, it can be hard. I mean, there's times where you can feel confident and secure in like where God has you and know, okay, God, like what you have given me, this is yours. And like, I can't worry about that. But you can also still have moments where you have those desires, you have that longing, like you have to just trust God and say, hey, this is yours. I can't bear it. Like, that's not my cross to bear. You took that cross to Calvary. Like, I can't say what you have in store for me. Like, exactly what you were saying, Becki. Like, I have a blueprint for my life. I think I know what I want. And thank the Lord, what I thought I wanted is not where he has me today, because was I off base? But knowing that, like, he has a divine plan. Like, he knows, he's omnipotent, he's omnipresent. He knows what's going to happen and where he's going to put us. But knowing, like, hey, ball's in your court. Like, I have to let that go, because that's a lot of pressure you feel societal pressures, putting pressure on ourselves. We don't need that too. Like, that's a lot to put on ourselves in addition. So,
and I think that all of that comes to, like, giving it to the Lord and kind of, like, letting it go. It's not a one-time thing. And I thought it was. And I was like, all right, Lord, I pray that I don't care about marriage until you are ready, or whatever the prayer is. But it's a daily surrender. And there's certain times where maybe it's multiple times a day being like, Lord, like, I don't want to think about this. I want to trust in your plan. Like, help me do that. And so, like, I just want to encourage people to, like, not be discouraged. If you do have to go back continually in prayer to give to the Lord and being like, hey, I'm giving this to you. Okay, I'm giving it to you again. All right, Lord, one more time. I'm really going to give it. And, like, always give it back to the Lord one more time.
Beautifully said, because it's like, as we navigate this journey of life and this journey of singleness and this journey of dating and this journey of not dating, it all is in the grand, like, if we zoom out to that way up high view, we just look at this journey of life, but really it breaks down into all these little journeys or seasons or things that we're trying to navigate. And I mean, today we're focusing in on just the pressure that we feel from society to have a certain life, whether that's getting married and saying goodbye to a lot of good things in exchange for something good, or whether that's staying single and living just the ordinary, everyday, through the grind, in service life, and giving up a lot of good things because we're single, but also having a lot of good things because we're single. That daily surrender of, here I am, Lord, use me. Here I am, Lord, show me the next step, is just so huge. And sometimes it feels just so hard or so repetitive, like, oh, here I am, Lord, we're surrendering it again. But that's the beauty of the life the Lord has given us, is that constant, continual surrender until we are perfected with him one day in heaven. So just be encouraged as we all navigate this journey of life together, that each of us get to daily surrender. And it looks a little bit different for each of us in each different season, but it's a beautiful journey to walk. Thanks for listening to episode 22 of Every Single Journey. If you like what you've heard, click the subscribe button to be notified when future episodes are available. You can also share this podcast on your social media pages so others can be encouraged too. If you're looking for more faith-based content like this, be sure to check out Family Life's other original podcasts, including If That Makes Sense, 10 Minutes With, You Can't Say That on Christian Radio, Therese Talk, and the Parable Podcast. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Your financial gifts make podcasts like this possible as we seek to share the hope we have in Jesus. You can find out more on our website at familylife.org.